Welcome to Time Traveling Team, the podcast where we review every story of Doctor Who right from the very beginning. I'm Paddy.
And I'm Tricia. In this week's special Rambling the TARDIS, it's time for us to say farewell to Perpetuum Peri Brown. As always, we'll be discussing Peri's strengths and weaknesses, as well as our picks for her best and worst episodes.
I would also love to hear your thoughts on Peri and her time in the TARDIS. So in order to join the discussion, you can check us out at Time Teamp. That's TIMETEAMP. Or you can email us at timetravelingteam@teamproductions.com.
Cool. For those of you who may hear clicking in the background, I copy and paste the templates every week. And today's introduction was copied and pasted from the 5th Doctor of the Rambling, but still included stuff about Turtle. It's fine.
We are professionals.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So again, we do this every time, but just for those of you who this is your first time listening to a rambling, if it is, I do recommend you go back and listen to the others, because they're a handy way of catching up on what we talk about the characters without having to re-listen to every single episode. Thus, of course, you're welcome to do that as well. There's been many of them.
Yes, there has been.
So the whole point of the ramblings is for us to reflect on the characters after their exit from the show. So it's one character, generally speaking, per rambling. I say generally because Ian and Barbara always go together.
Mm-hmm.
But we look at the strengths and weaknesses of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at their usually top 3 best stories and top 3 worst stories.
Yes.
Best and worst is obviously relative, as is strengths and weaknesses. We usually give strengths and weaknesses to everybody.
Yes.
Even our favourite characters ever have weaknesses. And even our least favourite characters, Stephen. And
Fifth Doctor.
Turlo. They also have strengths.
Yeah.
Even if they're hard to find. So, we will do...
I was like, actually, was there someone that I said like their strength was like they're a snappy dresser?
Probably.
Yeah.
Stephen's strength, he was there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off with strengths and weaknesses. Usually we do weaknesses and then strengths.
Yep.
To end on high notes.
Yes.
Paddy, as you read out the socials, as is our custom, would you like to go first?
I would indeed.
Also, I have just said we usually do weaknesses first. I actually don't fucking remember.
No. We always like to end on a high note, so we do the
Okay, cool.
we do the bad shit first and the good stuff last.
Okay.
Like we don't like the sour tastes. So Peri's weaknesses is an interesting one because as we've seen a couple of times with various different characters, it's the pitfall of having non-sequential writers and putting stuff out of order, because weaknesses which are there at the start, which would normally go away with character development, rear their ugly heads again down the line when people fucking forget about the other stuff that's been done, namely script editors, because they're the ones that are meant to fucking be paying attention to all this. But when she's at her worst, should we say, Peri's weaknesses are that she can be kind of whiny and a bit bratty. Now, obviously, we have it a bit at the start, especially like with Planet of Fire, because like she's like that, like typical, first year college student. Was like, oh, I want to go here. I don't want to go there. Blah, 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 blah. That type of thing, or like whenever the life on the TARDIS isn't peachy clean, like whenever like, oh, we're meant to be going here, but you always say we're going to go here. We never do, kind of like, stamp the feet and throw a little bit of a huff. Especially with, God, I love Nicola, but Jesus, especially with that accent, it gets a bit drilled into your head. The other time, two other major weaknesses. The second one is that what I've always said a lot of the time, her concern for the Doctor with the, well, if you die, what about me, it's a case of like it's 95% of that concern is for him. But there are times where I think it was I think it was more so in Revelation of the Daleks where the tone of it kind of shifted, was the sense of like, well, what happens to me? Like, because he thought he had died. Well, what happens to me? Like, and how will I survive without you? And there are times where it's understandable, and then there are times it's very selfish. So I think that is where Peri's selfishness kind of overrides the actual normal logical part of her brain, which we will talk about in a while. I think the last major weakness I have for her is that maybe so in the early days of her time with Colin, but you see it rear its head every so often when like a figure from his past turns up. She's very quick to judge the Doctor without knowing the full scope of the facts of like what happened previously. Like, why is the Doctor antagonistic to this person? Why is like he's saying we shouldn't trust him? Why? And like obviously Peri meeting this person for the first time and maybe falls for the facade or gets to reach that person on a level that the Doctor hasn't gotten to reach them. But she's very quick to leap on the Doctor. And I think it's more so in the earlier times where she's still getting used to Colin. Because Colin is, as we'll talk about in his episode, it's not the easiest start for her with the regeneration of Colin. So I think for the most part, outside of bad writing and poor representation, I think Peri as a character, those are her weakest parts.
I agree with you for the most part. So when I was thinking about Peri's weaknesses, I think a lot of what you covered, I think if you look at her stories as a whole, from beginning to end, she does overcome a lot of those weaknesses. The problem is, similar to Leela, people then reset them when it suited them. But generally speaking, I would say that but that doesn't mean those weaknesses aren't still there.
No.
I mean, we have a slight spoiler. There's one I'm going to mention later on in relation to that sort of Valley Girl-esque nature of her.
Yeah.
And how she judged Colin's Doctor initially. Which is just, it's just not nice.
No.
Which is in stark contrast to how she is generally. Which I'm sure we'll get to, or at least I will when we're talking about her strengths. So yeah, I agree with you. I think with Peri, there's at the beginning, again, this is something that she does move past, but very much is present at the beginning. There's a lot of entitlement.
And
I think a weakness of Peri as a starting character is this whole, I think we said at the time when we were talking about Planet of Fire that like she's a first year student traveling in the summer on someone else's dime. Like, she never had to work for her money, you know? And there are some people who are like that, and they're absolutely lovely. They're the nicest people on the planet, and whatever. But there is a stereotype that goes with that. And at the beginning, Peri very much was part of that stereotype. Again, this sort of entitled nature of, but I wanted to see all these amazing things, and I'm just sitting here watching you fishing. What the fuck?
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think for the most part she overcomes them, but because of the poor character continuity, there are times when it comes up again. But I think you and I discussed those at the time that we didn't see that as Peri moving backwards.
No.
We saw it as Eric Soward being a dickhead and not capturing the fact that these people are writing her as if it was last season.
Yeah, like I think it's, what was it? I think it was 2 Doctors, Mark of the Rani, and possibly Time Lash, where everything seems so inverted. It felt like that they should have come before Vengeance on Varos.
Yeah. I think the other weakness about her character is not a weakness of her character, but it's a weakness on how we engage with her character, is her skills and background are really underused. And when they are used, they're used in a really weird way. Like, she can create a sleeping draft, apparently, from bumfuckery nowhere.
Yeah.
because she studied botany.
Mm-hmm.
That came up at one point later on, and I'm like, okay, like, do those things jive? Like,
Wait, again, like if because that was in Time Lash, her interest in botany is a thing. So if that had
yeah,
come before Mark of the Rani, it would have been much
it would
easier.
make way more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
much easier
exactly.
first.
So I think, but I think in general, the fact that she is a student, she's not a fucking moron.
No.
It doesn't get used as much as we've seen. Like, say, Sarah's reporting came up a lot, and obviously Adric being the boy genius came up a lot. Tegan once got to be an air hostess again.
Yeah.
So I think hers is underused, and also given that they made her character American,
Mm-hmm.
they really didn't make use of that by having her react to the Doctor in a very different way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? As opposed to someone with a British accent.
Yeah.
Because the biggest weakness when it comes to engaging with Peri,
Mm-hmm.
as will come as a surprise to fucking no one, is that fucking accent. So I was listening back to our discussions of Peri. Because yes, dear listener, I am aware that we started talking about Peri a fucking year ago, but life got in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your patience. Particularly those of you who've actually stuck through this whole time. But that accent, the decision to make her American, the decision to go with that accent, the accent never really worked, in my opinion. And for me personally, and I said this on multiple occasions, it tended to take me out of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got all this amazing body work, for lack of a better phrase, and then this fucking accent comes out of her face, and I'm like, why? Just pretend you're mute,
Mm-hmm.
Nicola, and just access with Curry's a mute. But because they never make use of her Americanness, really,
Mm-hmm.
it sort of is this horrible accent that you have to sit through with no payoff. And for me, like I said, I'm only bringing it up as a weakness because I mentioned it. I think the first 5 episodes of Perry's, I went on about the accent.
Yeah.
I personally really struggled. Other people may find it absolutely fine. For me personally, it made it very hard to relate to Peri as a person. And for some stories, or for some moments in some stories, it made her come across more as a caricature than as a fully fleshed character.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you have bad writing in general,
Yeah.
and I don't mean bad writing as in the stories are bad, because a lot of the stories are very good, but as in bad character writing in general, it just makes it very hard to relate to her.
Well, it was kind of like it was the gimmicky nature of her character. Like, and like we've had gimmick characters before, like gimmick female character, like Leela. Oh, like she's the Amazonian savage, who is, you know, like hot. Then like we have Peri, who's like, oh, she's the American. Like, it's such a change of pace. Well, although she's technically like,
Who is
yeah. Well, you know, she's from England. So yeah, like it's just all of these really weird, like gimmicky natures of it, and it's like I don't need it. I don't need a like. And like the thing is, like, oh, if you want to make it the kind of the gimmicky nature, if you want to like put in the sex appeal, it's like personal preferences. There was a lot of sex appeal in the other companions, and they didn't need to actually be the quote unquote, you know, something for the dad sexy character.
This show.
Yep, this show, fucking Sarah Jane, Barbara, fucking the list goes on.
I'm just thinking of Liz's white cocoa.
Yeah, of course you're thinking, because that's what I'm thinking of. Get out of my head. We swear we're not perverts.
I say nothing.
Yeah, for legal reasons I have to say it. But anyways, yeah. No, because you said something, or I think it was like because we're moving on to strengths now, and you had talked about Perry's voice, like wrapped, which was like wrapped up in a more appealing frame, and I'm like, don't say nothing in relation to that in relation to strengths. Say nothing in relation to that in relation to strengths. Uh, but anyway, on to her strengths. Unless you have any more weaknesses to speak about.
No, I think the only other, it's not really a weakness of Perry, but it's a weakness of the writing. Is it's a weakness of the writing. It's a very weird combination, right? And I'm sure we'll get into it when we talk about her best and worst stories. So I'm very certain that this topic is going to come up. A weakness of the character of Peri,
Mm-hmm.
as written by the people who wrote the stories, is this over reliance on putting her in perilous or awkward situations.
Mm-hmm.
It happens multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the companion in peril is not a new concept, but the type of peril she gets into gets repeated.
Yeah.
And she isn't in that many fucking episodes
No.
for that particular trend to repeat.
Yeah.
That's not a weakness of the character, but it's a weakness of the structure that exists around her.
Yeah. It's a complete.
Say that again.
It's a complete fucking crutch. So it's a complete. And I think I gave out about it the last time that we fucking did it. Which is why one of the stories on my list, it was a nice, refreshing change of pace.
Okay, but speaking of change of pace,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you go on to what you think are Peri's strengths?
True. So first and foremost, even though she is not just a pretty face. Absolutely. She's very intelligent. I think I know that we kind of take the mick out of it. We just took the mick out of it. But her actual botanical education, like the fact that she's capable of doing that, it's like, okay, cool. That's a really good skill set to have, and it comes in handy in the moment. And it just shows like that she's not just a fucking dumb valley girl, which is great. And it also applies to her trying to learn how the TARDIS works. Because as we know, like she's seen the Doctor like pull out fucking wall panels and like start tinkering around with the screwdriver and this, that, and the other, and she's like, he's gonna fucking kill us. I need to know how to be able to fly this thing in the event of an emergency. But I think, like, in terms of her or her intelligence, her emotional intelligence is amazing because she has this wonderful ability to read a room, and that helps with great moments of like empathy and understanding, and that in turn gives us like the supporting characters, gives like, we love our supporting characters, we really do, and we love when either the Doctor or the companion gives them agency to actually make us fall in love with them, or fall in hatred with them because they're so fucking good at being bad. But like, there's some great moments throughout her time on the show because of that emotional intelligence and how she's able to connect with those characters, which is, while she may not drive the plot by her terms of her actions, she drives the plot by creating these opportunities for the other characters to engage with us. Outside of that, metaphysical fucking thing, her actual main strength is, I'll give out about it, but at the same time I'll praise it, is her strong will and her resilience. Because she is for the most part absolutely fearless. Like Planet of Fire, she has no problem trying to kick the master in the balls and fucking run away. Like in Attack the Cybermen, she has no problem handling a gun to defend herself and to defend the Doctor. And there are other times where she's not afraid of the physical aspect of stuff, but it's her strength of character and it's her inner strength and her resilience. That fucking woman gets put through the absolute ringer into so many times. She is metagenically changed. She is verbally abused several times by the Doctor. But like, and the thing is, like, I hate that it's a tool used to because the problem is that it's a tool used to develop characters that I end up liking because of that fucking trait. But I hate all the same is her ability to stand up against the sex pests that have bothered her repeatedly for week after fucking week after week after week. Because I think that's what you like. Well, I'm going to assume that's what you meant by that type of perilous situation she gets put into. But she basically tells every single one of them, "Fuck off," which is great because it's not the whole like bodice clutching. No, stay away from me, you brute. It's like like fuck off, or I'll make you hurt. Like, and I think going back to our discussion, like enlightenment. Like I know that you kind of like retroactively changed your opinion on that story as well because of, but like that was a great test of character for Tegan. It was an absolute failing for the Doctor, and it was an absolute fucking uh, damning indictment of that particular story. But it was a great kind of character moment for fucking Tegan, just to show just how strong she was internally. Here with Peri, it's the same thing. The only difference is that the Doctor actually stands up for her with these fucking people. But for the most part, she's able to defend herself, which is great. So, all in all, after not having watched these stories for close enough to 15 years and having what the clip show highlight reel version of BBC or Doctor Who media shows Peri, it was a wonderfully refreshing thing to actually see just how good this character was.
Very good. So for me, again, as is always the case, particularly when with certain characters, a lot of it is to quote a previous TTRPG that we played, ditto.
Yeah. Made sense at the time, so it makes sense now.
Yep. But I had 4 strengths for Peri that are all somewhat connected.
Mm-hmm.
Resilient was the first one, and you said it, right? She repeatedly finds herself in some of, to this day, or to date, we'll say to date because it's the fucking modern companions go through fucking shit.
Yeah.
But to date, she has found herself in the most unhinged fucking situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you compare what she went through in her relatively short time on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and compare it to a lot of our other companions, what she went through is insane. Like you said, torture.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was literally tortured, poisoning, abduction, psychological manipulation, body horror, fucking
Mm-hmm.
transmorphia. And throughout all of it, she remains as composed as one could possibly be and fiercely determined throughout all of it. Do you know? I think we were saying that, like, I can't remember which one it was, but in one episode, she was in danger twice.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be shot, and then, oh no, I think it was Caves of Androzani.
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah, well,
She was going to be shot, and then she was poisoned. Yeah. And those are 2 very different situations to be in. Her reactions to them were very different. One, she'd sort of accepted that this was what was happening to her, which is resilience in itself. She wasn't falling to pieces over it. Like, do you know what I mean? She accepted her pain, and then the other was her fighting for it and saying, no, like, there's a cure or whatever. Personally, I wouldn't call her fearless per se, but resilient, yes. And that brings out, which is she's very courageous.
Yeah, that's better.
And the reason why I don't say fearless is because I think she is very intelligent, and she doesn't run into things. She thinks first, and she does her own little analysis. But when the time comes, she does stand up. Whether that's her going through all this other shit, she still stands up. She doesn't give in to coercion. Like, I don't remember her ever selling anyone out or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, in comparison to some other people, Doctor, who do. And even, like, again, if we go back to her first story, the hilarious moment, but obviously very serious moment, of her taking off her shoe and trying to fucking whack-a-mole the master as he's running around. She stands up for what's important.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads on to the next thing. It's like, she's very compassionate. One of the ones I found the most interesting as I was re-listening back to it was actually with Planet of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And how we said that Peri, who was the new character coming in,
Mm-hmm.
showed more compassion for Chameleon.
Yeah.
Than the two guys who'd known him for ages.
Yeah.
Ages in quotation marks, right? But it doesn't just exist with that one character. Her compassion exists throughout. And we see it in how she relates to our story-based characters, how she connects with the Doctor, how she always tries to smooth tension. She's very much a sort of a peacekeeper type. Not Farscape peacekeepers, those are very, very different. But a general understanding of the word peacekeepers. And it's not that she's a pushover. It's just that she has a very strong moral presence, which particularly in contrast to early Colin, who's still balancing himself out, is very much needed. Because, early Colin is up and down, deliberately so, and I'm sure we'll talk about that when we do his rambling. But she's very compassionate. And that leads me to the last thing, which is she's very patient.
Yes.
Particularly with the Doctor. So again, I was re-listening to all the stuff, and twin dilemma. We said at the time we wouldn't fucking blame her if at the end of the story she said, "So long, farewell, fuck you," and tipped out the fucking door. Going through the regeneration change that she went through with her Doctors changing is so vastly different to what anyone else has been through. And through all of it, she didn't fucking kill him.
Nope.
I mean, it would have been very easy to throw him off a cliff.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't... How to put it? I don't think she ever forgot what he did or forgot the things he said. I mean, he repeatedly called her other people's names, including Jamie, who's a guy. Like, what the hell? He tried to strangle her. Right? He has all these, like, things of like, oh, I'm going to abandon you here in the pit of nowhere. You're going to wait on me for all eternity. Look, it's all this fucking shite. And through all of it, she's just like, he's going through this change. Doctor, you're unbalanced again. And she fucking slogs through it. And it's not just that she's putting up with him. She's constantly trying to build that relationship. To find a connection with him. Which I think takes a lot of courage. We spoke at the time, particularly when Peter regenerated Colin, we spoke at the time how their relationship could, through a certain lens, be seen as domestic violence, gaslighting, oh, he didn't really mean it, he's not like that when he's sober, that whole thing. And their relationship can be very triggering, right? But the way they have written her, it comes out as a strength of her character and not a weakness that she stayed.
Yeah.
She wasn't afraid to leave. She was determined to stay.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting difference.
Yes.
And I think of all the stuff with Peri, I think that's probably the thing that I take away about her the most. And that I think makes her quite unique amongst our companions. She fought for her place on the TARDIS, and she fought for the adventure that she wanted to have. And she was going to drag him along with her, kicking and screaming until he found who he was again. And could he have done that with a different companion? Probably. But I like how she did it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit of a longer thing about her strengths, but I was thinking because I was re-listening to all the discussion points we had about her, it really came across to me that I think her patience with him in particular is astonishing. And what's most astonishing about it is that when we go back to her weaknesses and we say that she has a bit of the Valley Girl entitlement, her patience shows how that Valley Girl entitlement is such a tiny part of who she was.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas the patient, compassionate, courageous part of her, that's who Peri is as a person.
Yeah.
It's just she doesn't like watching him fucking fish because who would?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, awesome. So will we now move on to our episode picks?
Yes. So, as always, we have our top 3 stories, which are our best stories, and our bottom 3 stories, if there are 3. There doesn't always have to be.
No.
Sometimes we have 2 or 1.
Yep. Or for some characters who only have like
5,
4 or 6 stories, we just rank them.
Yeah. I think Peri has enough stories to do a top and bottom.
Yeah, she does.
So I think that's fine. So because we like to end on a high note, I will. So the way we usually do this is we say what ones we picked. If we've any in common,
yes,
that dictates the order. So I'm going to ask you first: what stories did you pick as her worst stories, from least worst to worst to worst?
Yes. So I went in number 3, The Two Doctors. Number 2, The Mysterious Planet. And number 1 was Time Lash.
Okay. I only picked 2.
Okay.
Though I will tell you, The Two Doctors was on the list for a while and I took it off.
Okay.
I went with Revelation of the Daleks.
Right.
And The Twin Dilemma.
Interesting.
Because particularly with Peri, I was very focused on what impact she had and how well she was handled. And for some reason, those are the 2 I go with. I will tell you, Two Doctors was on the list for a while, largely because of impact. And at one point I was considering Mark of the Rani as well. And then that dropped off. So I ended up going with Revelation and Twin Dilemma.
Okay.
So, since we have nil points in common, why don't you do your 3 first, and I'll do my 2.
No problem. So, with the with the Two Doctors, there's not a whole lot. Like, she has, I think, one really stand-outish moment. That where it's like when she gets sent into the house after she says, "But I don't speak Spanish," neither do they. Thought that was great. But like, she's one moment of ingenuity where she comes up with a bullshit story on the spot. It's fantastic. But like, other than that, like, she really doesn't do anything of note. And I've been kind of going back and forth over, well, like, what should I pick? Should I pick stories where Peri is there but does fuck all? Or should I pick stories where she does stuff but it's kind of annoying? And I think for the most part, I think I prefer, even if it's something bad, just fucking do it, as opposed to like, oh, you're just fucking exposition of dialogue. It's not a good story of Peri. It's not, you know? I think The Two Doctors kind of falls into that category. Because, you know, outside of that moment, like, she's a bit whiny, she's a bit moany. I think this is like the resurgence of that aspect of it, you know, like complaining about the fishing and then complaining about the heat and then complaining about like this, that, and the other. It's like, it's just kind of grating. Now, I think we both forgot at one point like that particular story was 3 episodes long. I didn't think you were like, fuck, another episode. Um, but yeah, like there was so much wrong with that story, and Peri isn't great in it. Like she's just essentially there, which is kind of frustrating. And I think the same kind of happens with the mysterious planet, because it's just weird. Like she's just very weird in it. Like for some reason she has ESP now. I don't know why. But then she just comes up with this very weird view of like, oh, the earth is destroyed. I don't want to be here. Let's leave. And it's like, but you travel through time. So you know that things like this can happen. And your time is perfectly safe. So why are you acting as if someone just punched her dad in the face, you know? Like it's just, it's such a weird, and I think there are again one or two little bits where she does, she has good parts in it, but it's just overshadowed by this weird babyish attitude she has surrounding the future, you know. Kind of like the doctor, like is like he constantly reminds her, going, "But Perry, this will be long after your time. Like potentially your entire family line could have ended." And the thing is, like, she's not kind of bemoaning the fate of humanity. It's just her Earth then and there, where like when everyone that lives on the planet at that time, whether she knows them or not, is long since gone. It's a very weird step back, especially. And I think what really great on it is the fact that they had finally managed to write her and the Doctor as actually being friends again without fucking bitching back and forth, you know. And then the last one was Time Lash, where like she literally goes from being one person's prisoner to another person's prisoner. It's so fucking stupid. And it's so annoying. I think I would try to think of like, is it the worst of the sex pests? Possibly. Because the guy wants to turn her essentially into a breeding cow. So yeah, I would say that that is the worst of the sex pest escapades. But yeah, like she is just like, she's the stereotypical screaming companion that we give out about, because she is constantly damsel in distress in that story, and it is frustrating as fuck. So yes, as Perry fans, I would advise you to avoid Two Doctors, Christ, Mysterious Planet, and Time Lash. I didn't even go so far as to say kind of avoid Time Lash altogether. But
I would kind of agree and avoid Time Lash altogether. For me, the reason why I picked the two that I picked, so we'll do Daleks first, because Daleks for me is the least worst of the two.
Okay.
My issue with Daleks is she doesn't really do a whole lot. In the sense of her contribution to the story and how it progresses. She's largely limited to walking with the Doctor from point A to point B. And then she's separated from the main action. She's with DJ in his little fucking boot for a while. And even the whole thing of her and DJ, it's not really explored that much, you know? This is where we get, I believe this is where we get the mention of her botany. She found a plant pretty.
No, botany is Time Lash.
Oh, botany's not. Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, I'm confused. But, so she really likes DJ, but then they don't do anything with it. And I think the script barely uses her, and she has very little impact on the story as a whole. She's just kind of there. And also, they suddenly suggest that she's fat. I'm like, where the fuck did that happen from?
Yeah, that was, oh, Christ almighty.
But for me, the worst of the two is actually Twin Dilemma.
Okay.
And I say Twin Dilemma is the worst of the two because... Okay. I think she's underserved by the script, which is partially intended because it's it's Colin's first story, and she's not the focus, and he is. But when we consider this is coming off the back of Planet of Fire and Caves of Androzani, it's a massive like, oh hey, this is good, nosedive off the edge. She does have a couple of powerful moments, which, you know, I think deserve call out or whatever. But her behavior following the regeneration, and I don't mean her reaction to her being strangled, I've spoken about that already, that has its own thing. It has the one thing about it that I don't like, which is this Valley Girl mentality comes out again. Where not only is she sort of like, who the fuck are you? What the hell is this? Where's the guy I was with before? But she's fixated on his appearance, mocking his clothes and his body, rather than responding with the concern and compassion that we're used to seeing with her. And I find that it massively underserves who we have seen Peri is. Like I said, there is her dealing with the mood swings, which is its own thing, and I call that as a strength in its own right. But it's such a clashing reaction compared to what we had from her before. Also, she's quite repetitive in everything she's saying in that episode. She's constantly just repeating herself over and over and over again. I'm like, bitch, fucking shut up. Like, I get it. But a lot of it is like just this passive questioning. There's no real drive to her. And so while there are occasional bits of the Peri that we know and love, she's often just irritating and reactive. And there's a lot of like tonal missteps with her. And how she reacts to this new doctor seems to be purely physical, which is, you're not the string bean that you fucking were a while ago, therefore I don't like you. And I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? Peter wasn't the fucking good looking in there.
No.
No, it's ironic that the two stories I picked are the one where Peri's criticizing the doctor's appearance, and then where suddenly everyone's calling Peri fat. Those just happened to be the two that I picked.
I'm actually surprised you didn't pick Time Lash.
I had considered picking Time Lash, and to be honest, I don't know why I didn't. I think as I was going through them, I was trying to focus on impact. And Time Lash, as much as it's a fucking shit show in many ways, I think I think I sort of doubled back on my own self in a way where, you know, I put enlightenment at the bottom of Tegan. Time Lash is not in my top stories.
Yeah.
Haven't gone that far. But I think she does more than she does in these. And while we get a lot of those bad traits of her character, or the way the character is treated that you and I don't like, she is still doing more than she's in these two.
Yeah, no, I get you. Also, I completely forgotten the two doctors. She calls the doctor an asshole.
Oh yeah. But I mean, would I put Time Lash in there? Maybe, yeah. I think if I was to go for a third one, I probably would pick Time Lash over the two doctors. Now that we've discussed it, two doctors for me is just kind of a meh.
Yeah.
But it's a meh in the same way that the three doctors would have been a meh for Joe.
Yeah.
The five doctors would have been a meh for every companion.
Yeah.
Do you mean?
Yeah, you're not the star of this particular.
The multiple doctors I almost exclude from the companion discussions because they're deliberately not the focus.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Okay, so we had no worst stories in common, which I think is quite rare for us. Usually we have at least one.
Yeah.
But I did limit my list to 2, so that's fine. Now we have the best stories. So from bronze to gold, what were your or also ran what were your best stories for Perry?
So number 3, I have Revelation of the Daleks.
Okay.
Then see, I was back and forth on the number 3 spot, and it was that between that and Attack of the Cybermen. And I think there are parts of Attack of the Cybermen where Peri is great, but then there are parts I kind of give out about her. And I think in Revelation of the Daleks, I have less to give out about with Peri, so it just tipped it. Number 2 and number 1 though were a bit more solid in my eyes. Number 2 was Mind Warp, and number 1 was Vengeance on Varos.
Interesting. So I had in number 2 I had Mind Warp.
Okay.
In fluctuating depending on my mood, I had Caves of Androzani, Vengeance on Varos, and actually Planet of Fire.
Yeah. I thought about Planet of Fire.
Planet and Caves are the 2 that tend to flip-flop the most.
Okay.
So I would probably do Planet/Caves, then Mind Warp, then Vengeance. So Vengeance being the best of those. But yeah, I couldn't pick between Planet and Caves, to be honest.
So wait, so we're tied on our top 2.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So how about I'll do Revelation.
Yeah.
So okay, the biggest failing of Revelation of the Daleks, and we said it before, is that it takes fucking nearly 45 minutes for the Doctor and Peri to get involved in the thing. And plus, there's way too many stupid fucking side characters. Also, Clive Swift in a wig is very, very jarring when we've known him as bald for his entire fucking career. Very jarring. But there's I think there's 3 instances with Peri that I think really define her as a character, or help define her as a character. The first one is her Ben moment with the man that's attacking the Doctor. When she and she's so apologetic, and she didn't really she didn't want to hurt him, but as he and the Doctor said, she unknowingly gave him relief because he was in horrible pain. He didn't know what he was doing, and by killing him, he's kind of he allowed her to. She allowed him to be free again, to die as a person as opposed to a monster. And it's her reaction to that makes her incredibly human. And as I said, it's like the Ben moment with the Cybermen, where it's like, you don't want your characters to be like, oh yeah, fucking gung ho, let's beat the shit out of people. It's like, oh no, you hey, as much as we love your swashbuckling Ian, we also liked it when he had his human moments, Her bit with the DJ then is, while his death is slightly comedic because of Alexei Sales's acting, it's because Peri serves as the conduit for him to be a more fleshed out character. His death actually hits, and that's what I like some of the emotional beats in Revelation through Peri, because Peri makes you feel that stuff. And again, it's the thing I talked about as part of her strength, is her ability to empathize with these characters, to allow them to give the story poignant moments. So I really enjoyed it for that. Didn't like it when they called her fat, but I liked it when she basically told him, "Fuck off, you're as heavy as I am," even though both of them are not fat. Fucking Eric Sauer and John Nathan Turner. So yeah, because like you and I, we talk about story, we talk about character moments, and like when a companion facilitates those moments, even if they themselves like don't get to have a moment that outshines that themselves, I like it. So yeah, I think Peri's a good thing there. Plus, her great, like she's got a really good kind of herself and the Doctor are in sync. In the second episode, they're really, really in sync, which is great to see.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how about I do Planet and Caves?
Yes.
And then we'll do Mind Warp and Vengeance. Planet for me, initially, when I first started watching Planet, I was like, I'm gonna fucking hate this character. Largely because of the accent. Not going to lie. But I think it was a brilliant debut to a character.
Yeah.
I think in many ways it's up there with Time Warrior. It's up there with some of our best companion introduction stories that we've had.
The Face of Evil.
Face of Evil, fucking brilliant.
Spear from Space.
Yeah. It's right up there with all of them. And what we get right here, although it's not done in as clean a way as we maybe would have wanted it, and it's done better in other episodes individually, but we do get everything of Peri in here. From her weaknesses, her sort of somewhat bratty, entitled beginnings, through her resilience, her moral depth, her compassion with Chameleon, her bravery against the Master. We get all of it sort of wrapped up in one. And I know that you personally try to avoid using someone's incoming episode as their sort of best episode because you want to see the character grow and develop, whatever. But I think for me, Planet does a very good job of setting up the Peri that we're going to see. And when I was listening back to our discussion on Peri, because it was so long ago, sorry again, I was kind of taken. I was driving. I was kind of taken aback by just how much we were like, this is amazing. She's really interesting. And I was like, holy fuck, yeah, she was right from the fucking get-go. Like, do you know what I mean? Which I really liked. I did contrast it, though, with Caves, where she's a bit more stable. She's a bit more central to the narrative. And she drives it a bit more. It does have creepy things with fucking Peri in it, though. Similar to the other one. But I think it just gives the story this emotional core that actually her being in the story and the way the Doctor reacted to her elevated it as a Doctor exit story.
Yeah.
That story wouldn't have hit the same had it been Tegan or one of the others, because we wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
Whereas because we had this great setup in Planet that went into Caves, we believed the story that was happening. So as a sort of, I'd almost put them as like a duo, where together they take my third spot.
Yeah.
Could you watch each one of them individually? Yeah. Do they work better if you watch them back to back? I think so.
If you got them on, on the 2-disc set, yes.
Yeah. Or if you're watching it on iPlayer if you're in the UK or whatever. Yeah. So then we have Mind Warp, Trial of a Time Lord Part 2, and Vengeance on Paris.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts on Mind Warp, and why did you have it in your number 2 spot?
Okay, so I'm trying to determine how much of it is Brian Blessed related. And I'm trying to think, like, I think it's kind of, no, it's not substantial, but I think it's about half Brian Blessed related. Everything goes back to Brian Blessed. So, outside of the Brian Blessed aspects of it, I really enjoy Perry in this because of her faith in the Doctor, in the sense of, well, no, first of all, her protective nature of him. Because when he gets his fucking brain scrambled, she's like, no, that's not him. That he wouldn't do that. There's something going on with him, and I need to figure it out, and I need to help him to save him, which is great because when the Doctor's not the Doctor, it becomes all about the companion for the most part. And it's all about like them bringing the character back to who they are. And that's where you kind of show the strength of the relationship, and that's how you know that the companion and the Doctor actually have a proper bond, when you can believably get that companion to be the anchor point for that Doctor. I think she does it great here, and like it's heartbreaking when he has her tied up and she thinks she's gotten through to him, but then he's like, no, it's I'm only pretending to, you know, be friends with you again. Please tell us the whole thing. And like, it's a heartbreaking story in general. Like because with her, and I agree with Nicola to an extent about like how it would have been like a very impactful finish for her, but at the same time, you know, we all love true love, and the other aspect of the story is her and Yukanos, and it's such a sweet beauty and the dumbass beast. um, Story where it's like just that. And I think you can really condense it down to that one scene where he's like, "What is love?"
Mm.
It's not "Baby, don't hurt me," but it's like, "What is love?" And she explains it, and it's just like this absolute wonderful meeting of the minds where he's like, that type of thing is what I envision, like, you know, like what we all strive for in terms of our Valhalla escapade. But if you can find it with one person that you don't have to actively go out and seek a glorious death, it's a really sweet moment. And I'm glad that, and that's why I disagree with Nicola, because they got that happy ending. Peri gets that happy ending in Ultimate Four. The Doctor gets that happy ending for Peri. It's really good. So I think it's a great showcase. It's also like we've seen Nicola before act emotional before, which is great. And she's like, Nicola's a really good actress in this show. Can't fault her on it. Accent, yeah, terrible. but but in terms of her acting, yeah, no, she's really, really good. And we talked before, and we've given out before, and we will continue to give out about when you introduce someone in like a fucking the third episode of a 4-part or whatever, and also they're the amazing love interest, and you can't leave it out of, and it's crock as shit. Here, I believed every single second of it because it was handled well and it was acted well. So that is why Mind Warp is my number 2.
So again, ditto. I think the thing about Mind Warp that I like so much, and again, this is another time, I think I did this with Sarah Jane again, where I have the opener and the closer in my top 3, which I actually really like when the character starts and ends
Strong.
Contrast that with, say, someone like Jo, who got fucking reset in her last story, was a fucking pain in the hole.
The absolute shaft.
Yeah. I think Mind Warp in particular for Peri is a very emotionally complex story, because in terms of her travels with the Sixth Doctor, it does reset her in a way for part of it. Suddenly he's not behaving the way he should be behaving. He's saying things and doing things that don't align with the Doctor that she knows, which is obviously very challenging. And she's constantly on the go trying to fucking figure it out and kind of go, what is actually happening? She is very resilient, like we've said before. Despite everything, she is constantly fighting through it. She fights through the conditioning. She fights through everything. And it's very sad, the end that we see in the episode, which is she loses all sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And has to be killed by Icarus. And I don't think in the story Peri falls in love with Icarus. I don't think that happens. But she does form a bond with him. And she does feel compassion for him, as she does with most people, because she's a special person. But she did see the beauty in the beast, as it was, with him. He also doesn't immediately fall for her. It's through that conversation, like you said, about love. And again, I said this at the time. But if you've never seen Mind Warp, and Trial of a Time Lord, you and I discussed our thoughts on that whole thing as a whole. But if you just watch that conversation, like look it up on YouTube or whatever, wherever you get your Doctor Who, and just watch that scene, because she doesn't think he's stupid.
No.
And the way he relates to what she's describing, she gets this little smile on her face of, yeah. That is love as well. And I love that. My little shipper heart does love the fact that they do get a happy ending.
Yeah.
But I've sort of headcanoned it. Headcanon because I haven't actually read or listened to the works that come after that explain how they came to be. But my thing of it is that he saved her. The Doctor's gone. Fuck knows where. Right? He just fucking left. Because from her point of view, he just pissed off.
Yeah.
And I think gradually they become a thing.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants. He's like, she is my queen. And let's go and rescue her. And she's kind of like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah.
Slow your roll. But yeah, I think as an ending, whether you watch through to the end of Ultimate Foe to get the happy ending, I think it works well as both. It works really well as a tragic ending, and it works beautifully as a happy one as well. Whichever one you want to pick.
No.
Either you just watch Mind Warp and it's tragic and beautiful, or you watch through to Ultimate Foe and go, oh, he saved her. And she grew her hair back.
Thank God. Thank God.
But yeah, so I think Mind Warp actually, to be honest, now that I'm talking about it, I think Mind Warp might actually be my number one, but whatever. It is a very good one. But we then have Vengeance on Varos. So, Paddy, why did Vengeance?
Before we discuss Vengeance on Varos, Brian Blessed is actually a pretty decent singer, and now I just have in my head a version of there was maybe something there that wasn't there before. She touched my paw. You can just imagine Brian singing it. Oh God! But
also the way you sang that,
in
the very small bit, it actually sounded like from Hunchback of Notre Dame, the song with Quasimodo and the asshole.
Oh, Frollo.
Frodo. Whenever he's going on about her like he's ugly. It's just the way he said it. I was expecting you to repeat it. And like, but I am the anyway. Not the point of the conversation.
No, not the...
But yes, I agree.
So Vengeance on Varos is a really good showcase for Peri, because the way Peri, the treatment that Peri gets, first of all, and like I think I said it at the time, that like the stuff that she goes through is fucking horrible. Like between the harassment from Syl, then the body transformation shit, and like the fact that she's not, well, she probably does have some psychological trauma, but the fact that she's not psychologically damaged, that she can't, like the minute she's freed, she's back helping, she's back like engaging, and again, like the strength of her partnership with the Doctor in it is really, really good. But the thing that I liked about her the most is that she's the one that helps bring about and at least 50% of the resolution through her interactions with the governor, because she's the one that helps him make a stand. Like, she brings out the real person. Because we talked before about like if you're elected governor, you're fucked. It's not a position of like, it's not a grand position to be in. And she is like, well, you can either die a failure or you can use your power to do something good. What's it gonna be? And she taps into that thing, which is absolutely great. And the only thing that I was missing from that story is if she had just like fucking drop kick Syl somewhere. But I think it just hit all the right notes. It showed just how strong we'd seen it before, but it showed just how strong she is to go on dealing with her old friend, like fucking sexual harassment, but also the physical and psychological torture that she went through with the metagenic type thing. Her partnership with the doctor, which is great to see because you feel it. You feel that connection between the two, which was great. And then as well, bringing about the resolution while also helping us get engaged in a supporting character for the story. Hits all the boxes, I think.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so now that I've discussed I actually probably would put Vengeance and Virus in 2, just because we're about to go in and discuss points. But why Vengeance and Virus? I think Vengeance shows in a story that often reinforces her as a damsel in distress. It concurrently also shows how her strong agency, how she resists torture, her facing Syl, the moral clarity that she maintains throughout it. I think this is definitely one of those stories where the companion speaks for us.
Mm-hmm.
Her watching the execution screenings, her emotional response to that violence, it makes us empathize with her. And it's putting voice to what we would feel in that situation. I agree with you in terms of, I think a lot of the governor's decisions later in the story stem from him interacting with Peri. The way he, advocates for her later on and stuff like that. Part of his evolution as a character comes from him interacting with Peri. Had he not met Peri, he wouldn't have had that change, I don't think. Even if the doctor said to him, I don't think he would have changed in the same way.
No.
We do have the body transformation, which, similar to Mind Warp, is quite jarring to see.
Mm-hmm.
And Peri herself is terrified.
Mm-hmm.
The whole sequence is terrifying, and it's done so well. And I think the reason why I would put this over something like Time Lash,
Mm-hmm.
or over Caves, which also had a little bit of the sort of sex pestery
Mm-hmm.
nature to it, is just sort of how well they have her come through it.
Mm-hmm.
While her role in the overall narrative is a bit more passive, she's more influencing by association. Her reaction to her experiences are very much active.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it shows, again, that moral clarity that she has. Thinking now that we've discussed Mind Warp, and as I remembered again, that amazing scene where the Carnos, I probably would put Mind Warp over in 1 and put this down into 2. But they're both really good. The only thing with Vengeance And this isn't a slight of it as a Peri story, it's just a slight of it as a story.
Story.
It does have Syl.
Yeah.
Just say it. He is in it.
Which is worse, Syl or Sweet Ron?
Oh no. Nothing will ever top that. Maybe one day we'll talk about that in more detail. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I think it's been a very interesting discussion. I love that our work stories are completely unrelated to each other.
Yeah.
But I think that's good. I think it's good for you and I to have different stories from time to time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's not good for the character because it means they're just fucking awful.
True. But that's not the case here.
No.
That's not the case here. I suppose the question I'd have for you sort of on the topic of Peri,
Mm-hmm.
with mind warp,
Mm-hmm.
tragic death, happy ever after. If you could pick which of those was canon, which one would you pick? Because obviously in canon, it's just that she goes on to be the Ucranos. In expanded universe stuff, as we discussed when we were discussing that story,
Mm-hmm.
some expanded universe material has her being happy there, some has her not being happy there, some has her being a choice, some has her not being a choice. So let her have the tragic death, or have a happy ever after with Brian Blessed.
See, why did he ask me this? I honestly, I don't know. I don't think I can pick because I like the at times the sad ending. I really do. Like a good no, okay, a good example is the manga slash anime Berserk. Back in the 90s, they adapted one specific arc of it, and basically it ends with like a sort of like, oh shit, the bad guys win. Like even though the manga continues on, like the animated series stopped then and there. And like I would always say to people, like it's frustratingly beautiful. Like watch it, enjoy it, be depressed by it, whatever, but watch it and experience it. So with Perry's side of things, I'm like, the show should never shy away, and it has never shied away at times from there are fatal consequences of traveling with the TARDIS. And I think Perry's one hits like it it fucking hits like a rocket, because even though you see her physical death, Perry is gone before that. Like we don't. Whereas with like Adric, it was like, yeah, okay, he slams into a planet. Katarina, she gets sucked out of an airlock, but we see them as a whole entity die. We don't see Perry die. We see her body, but we don't see Perry die. And it's like the gothic romance, dark side things of my brain kind of goes, that is, oh, wonderful. But then I'm like, I also like people to have happy endings. So when if there's a happy ending presentable, I like them to have a happy ending.
What I find interesting about the Peri Irkonos thing
Mm,
is we hated Leela staying for a man.
yeah,
We hated Joe being married off.
yeah,
We had issues with Vicky staying
yeah.
behind with your man.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think that's mostly just because of the Aeneid that you had issues with.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't as familiar with when we did that story, and now I fucking get it.
Yeah.
But why don't we mind here? Is the interesting thing. Is it Brian Blessed? Or is it because we don't see Peri claiming to love him?
Okay, so I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I said that it's got nothing to do with Brian Blessed. A small part of it is Brian,
Hmm.
but I think it's like that. It's not. Yeah, I think it's the fact that she hasn't outright saying, "But I love you," or she's not fawning over him. The spark is there, and I think it's, let's see where this takes us, and I like this because I think it has the potential to become something beautiful because they're such a mismatched pair that they complement each other wonderfully.
Hmm.
And whether they have a happily ever after or whether they have an amicable party of the ways down the line, the romantic in me wants it to be that because I'm presented with that. If I hadn't been presented with it, or it was the whole thing of like, oh, maybe somewhere down the line, maybe somewhere out there Perry's alive, they'd be like going, no, I'll just stick with the tragic death. But fucking, I like both. I'm sorry, I like both. It's an impossible thing for me to answer. I really like both.
Yeah, I also like both. I mean, my shipper self obviously prefers happy endings, overall. But because I was thinking about why do we champion this so much? Because we did at the time as well when we watched the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we champion this so much when we gave the others such for doing the oh my god, she stays with the character was only introduced in the story? I think the difference is the love scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got a scene of true connection between them that we didn't get with fucking Troilus and Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get with Jo and her horribly abusive fucking husband. We didn't get with Leela and your man whose name I have forgotten.
Oh, Christ. Some custodian dude.
Yeah.
Um,
But we get it here in that we get the founding of a relationship.
do you know what else it is? It doesn't come at the expense of Perry. It
Yeah.
doesn't reduce her because Vicky. No, okay. Small thing in Vicky's defense, she's a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Which is also why we had such a massive issue.
well, yeah, but it's the romantic notion of he's the love of my life and I'm going to go with him forever. And it's like, let's hope it's not like Jason and Medea. But anyway, whereas Joel was like going, you're a strong, independent fucking 70s chick. This guy's a fucking pompous, egotistical prick. Why are
Who
you
treats you
falling?
like crap?
Yeah, why the fuck are you falling for it? And then with Leela, we had major issues where she got basically fucking simplified into like a sort of like a his gal Friday.
Mm.
And then it's like out of absolutely nowhere. It's like, I'm going to stay with him. Doe-eyed. No, it's a complete fucking reduction of the Leela that we know and love.
Mm.
Whereas here it's, no, it's still Peri. It's Peri being Peri. And I think that goes a long way.
I think it's also that he's the one who puts her on the pedestal. And he's the one who, after they have their discussion, and he realizes what love is.
Yeah.
That he then follows her like an Asgardian puppy.
Yeah.
You know? An Asgardian puppy is like this fucking 500-pound fucking Growlithe Pokemon type thing that is huge and giant, but also a puppy. And yeah, but I found it interesting when I was listening back to our conversation. And obviously, we had our conversation now. I was like, we gave the others such fucking shit. We went total fucking Elsa from Frozen on them, being like, "What do you mean you're marrying a guy you fucking met yesterday? You fucking idiot."
Yeah.
Or Elsa and Kristoff, I suppose.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's just like, I think it's actually that it's a grown-up decision. It's a grown-up dynamic that they have.
Yeah,
Literally.
because it's just like, it's not puppy love, it's not hero worship, it's not whatever the fuck Leela's thing was. It's, he's a bit fucking rough and ready, but he's not bad.
Yeah.
And she'll need to split a haunch of meat with me in order for me to pursue her in courtship. So yeah, it's more mature. It's not a reduction of Peri as a character. It's actually fleshed out and explained well. Yeah, it's just handled really, really well. Fuck it, I'm nearly even thinking of swapping it around now with Vengeance.
Okay, so my last question to you.
Yeah.
On a scale of Sarah Jane
Yeah.
/Ian/Barbara
Yeah.
to Turlo /Stephen, where does Peri sit for you?
She is just over the midway point into Ian Barbara Sarah territory. So imagine the sliding, the sliding scale. You got your center point, who it's been like 2 years since we ranked everybody. If we put our center point as Polly, perfectly
I was thinking the same person actually.
Yeah. Perfectly serviceable, has her bad moments, has some really good moments, enjoyable, You were, I was going to say, you wouldn't kick her out of bed. Yeah, you wouldn't kick her out of the TARDIS.
You wouldn't kick her out, by the way.
Yeah, no. I think she's a couple of steps ahead of Polly in that regards, because she won't crack top 5. I don't think she'll crack top 10, but I'd say in the running for top 15 anyway.
Do you mean she wouldn't crack top 10 of current people that we've reviewed, or top 10 ever?
Well, definitely top 10 ever we've reviewed. So, okay, we've reviewed 1, 2, 3, our Ian, Barbara, Sarah. Then obviously you've got Liz in there. We got Leela. So that's 5. Then Romana 1 is 6, because fuck Romana 2. Going back to Stephen, no.
Jamie?
Oh yeah, Jamie. So what's that? It's 7. Then I think Nissa isn't there. 8. Ben and Polly, no, because Polly's the median line. Then we've also got, what's her face? We've got Victoria, and we've got Dodo. No,
Zoe.
there's maybe she might just be at the 10 spot. Because you see, you've got Zoe, you've got Harry, you've got Joe, then you've got Tegan and Adric, and turn us to the far. Yes, we said the far end. So yeah, we've also got Susan and Vicky in there as well.
Yeah,
and of course, Brett Vian.
Just for Brett. I would probably say, depending on my mood.
Yeah.
Currently, of the ones that we've reviewed up to now, she could break the top 10, depending on my mood. And by break the top 10, I mean, it would be like herself, Jamie, probably Joe, Harry. They all kind of float together.
Romana 1. Oh no, Romana 1 is solid.
Romana 1's fairly solid. But again, I think it could depend on my mood. I mean, depending on my mood, I could put her right up there next to Romana 1.
Yeah.
Depending on my mood. But she's definitely in that solid middle of the pack. But like the upper middle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where again, depending on the story and depending on the day, it's like, oh, is that a top 10 story? Yeah. You know, like, is her characterization of Mind Warp a top 10?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
is fucking, give me another episode of Paris that we didn't mention. Is Mark of the Rani a top 10 character? Nah.
Nah.
You know,
Nah.
but is it a bottom 10 either?
No, it's
No.
not.
A bottom 5 rather. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have done a very long rambling on Peri.
Mm-hmm.
Largely due to, I will now officially say for the pod, though some people know already, I have moved. I am now in my own home, that I've purchased with my own money.
Your own fortress of solitude as opposed to bedroom of solitude.
Yes, indeed. So Paddy and I discussed this a little bit in the bit of this episode that he's clipped out, which is what's coming next. So what's coming next is going to be our rambling for Colin, which is going to be interesting. And then we are going to do an end of year Q&A like we always do, which is usually us just shooting the shit a bit more than usual. It's a more sort of open rambling.
Yeah, we don't have a story to distract us.
No, it's just rambling. And then in the new year, and we don't know what date specifically we're going to come back in the new year. It is often later in January because we take Christmas off, fully from this, and we just do our own thing. So it could be the middle to end of January before the episode after the end of year Q&A drops, but it will be the start of Sylvester's era.
Yes.
I kind of like the idea that we're starting the new year with a new doctor. It's a sort of a very sort of type thing. And then I don't know what we're going to do for our release schedule for next year. It probably will be more structured. Now that the whole moving thing is over and I don't need to be concerned about recording with other people going to bed. Hopefully every 2 weeks.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
That'll be the basic plan. And just for anyone who's wondering, you know, you used to do, like when you first started, you did an episode a week, and then it took you a year to get through a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Things have changed. Our lives have changed, our responsibilities have changed. And doing an episode a week, particularly for Classic Who, just didn't scale with how busy our lives became. And I think once every 2 weeks works for us. Also because it allows us to spread out, prep, record, edit.
That's one thing coming into the new era, because we're so close to it now, I'm looking forward to, is only one or mostly 2 episodes to recap.
Yes.
Oh.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. End of Peri. So long. Good luck with Brian. Next week we'll be talking about Colin.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that one.
Until
then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.